Recently, I was involved in a bit of a heated discussion about humanity and the Earth. Does the Earth needs humans? That was the question. And there are all kinds of arguments. One of the arguments was that the Earth should do without humans because they are destructive. They are a failed experiment. They are a virus. All kinds of horrible things were said about humanity. Well, it's absolutely true that what we are doing collectively at this moment to the Earth is a disaster. We don't have to discuss that point. But does that mean that humans do not belong on the Earth? Let's be honest, the Earth will continue if humans would disappear. There was a time there were no humans anyway, but there are now humans. I believe that every being that exists on Earth in this moment is there because it needs to fulfill a role. It can be tiny, it can be big. That can be seen as an individual and as a group, as a species. So the human species is here to fulfill a role. Then we come into a more difficult discussion. Yeah, I can answer that first question. Do humans belong to the Earth? Does the Earth need us? Seen from an evolutionary point of view, I would say yes. We are like everything. If you really begin to understand evolution, then we see that each, you can say, um, living organism is preparing the way for more extended organisms, more complex organisms. It is a part of evolution. And we are a part of that evolution. And now here we are, we have been given gifts that other living beings before us do not have to the same degree. So we obviously need to be here. And then we can say, but then what's wrong? What went wrong, as some people say? Something went wrong. I'm not sure that something went wrong. I think we are still learning. We're still learning to understand what it means to be who we are. One of the challenges that we have as human beings is that we have a physical system and a spiritual system. Two systems that needs to work together. Each of those two systems have their own mind. That's the story. We have a mind of our own. So the physical part has a mind of its own. And unfortunately, that mind is primarily geared towards functional survival, or survival in general, but that has changed more and more into a functional survival. Because other than in places of war, there's not a danger of being killed. Yeah, sometimes in certain areas, maybe a bit, but in general, that's not the key for most people. So why are we then so afraid? Why are we so focused on only the human beings? Well, we have literally lost contact with the earth and all other living beings. I'm generalizing, I know, but it is about humans as a general. That was the point of view, not individuals. Some individuals are fully connected, or at least as fully as they can be. But as a species, we are not. As a species, we are literally disconnected. And when you are not connected, you go into survival because you're not safe. Safety is part of feeling an integrated part of the world you live in. And most humans do not have that feeling. They don't feel an integrated part. They see nature more as, let's say, a challenge. Nature is supposed to give us what we need. We are not here only for humans. There is where the problem is. The problem is that we, over time, have learned to focus on our survival. And that only comes because we don't feel part of this earth anymore. We have not been trained. It's not part of our school system to teach that we are part of the whole. We have not learned to meditate. We have not learned to be aware of our thoughts and how we can change them, how we can overcome fear, worries. So we are not a failed experiment. We are an untrained, lost species in this moment. We need to find ourselves and then see ourselves as a integrated part of the world that we live in, because the earth needs us. We are a product of an evolutionary process. So why does the earth needs us? Because we are co-creators. And if you want to see the truth of that, then you can see that when you are not connected with the world as a co-creator, you then create situations that are not supportive for the whole. We use our co-creatorship to create for ourselves. We have lost that connection to and the understanding that co-creation means we need to create with all other living beings, and definitely together with Mother Earth. And that means we need to learn to understand what that means. That's what we have lost. The human species is needed, but it is also a species that has lost its connection, lost the understanding of its role. And maybe we never fully understood it. Maybe it's part of the evolution that we are now coming to the point that an increasing number of people say, why are we here? Why did we create such a mess? What do we need to change? We talk about regeneration to bring systems back into an aliveness. But we can only really find a solution when we learn to connect and communicate with all other living beings. Most people are not even aware that we are not alone in this planet, in the sense that there are a lot of invisible beings as well. And everybody that is a non-believer will immediately say that is nonsense because it can't be proven. Of course, it can't be proven because it's not visible, so you can't measure it, but you can sense it. And that is another thing that we have lost, our ability to feel, to sense. That is also an inherent part. But if we use the left hemisphere of our brain, the logic one, to survive, functional survive in this world, and we have an underdeveloped, in most cases, generally speaking, an underdeveloped right hemisphere, the one that sees the whole, the ones that has that feeling, intuition, sensitivity, to feel that there is besides the physical world also an invisible world, yeah, then we will immediately say, oh, that's not true, because that is what the left hemisphere is saying. It's not true, because we can't measure it. It's not logic. I'm not seeing it. When we are willing to develop the qualities that we have, then becomes clear what our role is and that we are needed as a part of the evolutionary process. So we can yell and scream at those who don't understand that we are destroying the earth and even continue to do so on a pretty large scale even. That doesn't help. If you truly want to help the earth, then connect with all other beings and help others to learn to do that as well. Not as a new religion, that also doesn't work. As a simply check of reality that goes beyond the reality that we have co-created and say, this is it. No, this is not it. We are beginning to understand what the earth is all about. It's one of the things we try to do in metaphysical ecology in the center, because we believe in that what is not visible as being equally and maybe on some level even more important than what is visible. I think there is more out there that is for us invisible and in the current moment, the current phase, unmeasurable than that what is measurable and visible. And all of that is needed. And then humanity can find its place and its role in this beautiful planetary development that will continue forever. I don't believe in a scenario without us. I believe that we can make the journey difficult or more easy and more joyful. And that's my invitation. Learn to understand the world. Put time in it because it's more essential than anything else that you're doing. You've decided to join this earth, as it's called, incarnated into this earth for a reason. And that reason is you, in your uniqueness, have chosen to contribute to this planet's evolution. But you cannot do that if you get stuck in certain beliefs that is non-supportive and if you're not connected to this planet and all that lives on it. So my invitation is become a part, become a aware part of this beautiful planet and all that lives on it. And then you can contribute in ways that give you only joy, lead to happiness, and a much better planet for all living beings, including humans. I hope it inspires you to look a little bit more beyond what you tend to look at, knowing that we need to embrace the planet that we have chosen to live on. We're here for the planet. We are not here for humanity. And with the planet comes all that lives on it. See the beauty in this place that you've decided to come to, the earth.